What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Let's Buck with Ben. This is episode 5. My name's Ben Cornett. How is everybody doing today? I'm doing good here. It is Sunday, July 30th, 2023. And yeah, we're almost here. Football season is already kicked off. Now, I know the games haven't kicked off yet, but to me, football season's here. So, speaking of that, we're going to talk about training camp today on this episode. But first, we had some breaking news coming out of training camp today, and it's not very pleasant. So let's get right to it, and we will put it up here. Right here, it is if you don't already know, rookie defensive end, Kalijah Cansey had an injury today. He was went to the ground. He got back up and then went on the cart. Now, initially, we're thinking, you're always going to think the worst, but I'm like, let's just pump the brakes a second. It could be cramping, because they're in Florida. It's humid, hot. You're going to have a lot of cramps. Well, we just found out from Scott Reynolds of Pewter Report. He said that it's not just a cramp. It is a right calf strain, according to the reports. There'll be an MRI done, as soon as they can get it. Again, initially, I thought, it could be a cramp. Hopefully it is. That's all it is. But it did turn out to be a right calf strain. Now, they don't know the severity of it yet because they haven't done the MRI. But as soon as the MRI comes around, they'll give us more details on it. But calf strain, they can be a little tricky. They're like hamstrings. You could be out for a few days. You can be out several weeks. They initially say that it's like a 2 to 6 week recovery time, depending on the severity of it. So hopefully it's not too severe, and Cansey can get back out there as soon as possible. But I'm guessing that unfortunately he might not be able to play the first preseason game, since the preseason game comes out August 11th against the Steelers. So we're looking at about a 2-week time there, less than 2 weeks. So I'm guessing he's probably not going to play in that game. Anything after that, there's a possibility he can come back. But yeah, this is a little tough because, again, he's been really shining in training camp. He's learned a couple of moves. He's picked up the playbook quickly. Head coach Todd Bowles even said that he's picking things up faster than he'd expected. So he was really doing good. And then you hear this, and it's tough. Again, hopefully I'm not going to panic. I don't think anybody should panic just yet, because we don't know the severity of it. Could be very minor, could be very severe, but right now, let's just wait until the MRI results. Regardless, it's a bit of a step back for Kalijah, just because he is a rookie. You are just, getting into the swings of things, with your NFL career. You haven't even played an NFL game yet. So all it would do is take him just a little longer. But on the positive side, like Todd Bowles said, he's picking up things very quickly, better than most rookies do. So that's a good sign. And again, hopefully Kalijah can get back quickly. Hopefully it's not severe, because he's a high draft pick, top 20. So he's supposed to bolster our defense, and you don't want to lose him for any amount of time. So, but speaking of that, and which is kind of good news, you hate to see anybody get injured, but we did bring a veteran back to the Buccaneers, in case of things like this happening. That's William Golston. He resigned earlier in the week. To a 1-year deal. I'll admit this kind of surprised me a little bit, because we're getting near training camp, and There've been talks about Golston coming back. They're maybe bringing him back, maybe not. I honestly, I'll admit, I thought maybe they might turn the page and go another direction, but no, they brought him back. It surprised me they brought him back this late, but then looking back at it, they had to sign all their rookies, so I think they wanted to wait until the rookies were all signed, and whatever money they had left, give Golston a fair deal, and now he's here. And I say that's a good thing too, especially now with the Cansey injury. Depending on how long how long he sits out, Golston, the veteran, he knows Todd Bowles' defense. He's been a Buck in his entire career since 2013, drafted by him in the 4th round. So he's great veteran to have on the team, teach the young guys, the Canseys, the Diabys, all these guys. He played with Logan Hall last year. Hopefully, a guy like Logan Hall can step it up a little bit. Same with Joe Tyron Shienka. We talked about that last week, how he has to step up. This is a big year for him. So yeah, it adds depth. Something we didn't have much of last year, especially on the offensive line. We've gone over that, but now that Cansey's sidelined, hopefully not very long. Have Golston come in, and then have some of these other rookies step up. Some of these undrafted rookies, who I believe we have like 19 undrafted rookies in training camp, and 27 total. So that's huge. That's a lot of rookies, but this is a chance for them to step up, try to make a roster spot. And we'll go right into that, with the first week of Bucs training camp. Like I said before, we have 27 rookies in training camp, 19 undrafted. And so far, we've heard a lot of good things out of training camp. Todd Bowles been talking about how, a lot of these rookies are, playing hard, stepping up, competing for jobs, competing for certain positions. There's a position right now that they got a slot corner. They have like up to 5 rookies competing for that position. One of them's D. Delaney, as you know. He's been on the Bucs for a few years now. Another guy is an undrafted rookie, Josh Haynes. Also, Zion McCollum, who was drafted last year as well. McCollum's an interesting pick here. Obviously last year he kind of struggled a little bit, but this year's his chance to compete for a slot corner position. That was, played by Sean Murphy-Bunting, who's no longer with us. He's with the Titans now. And Mike Edwards, he had some time there as well. He went to the Kansas City Chiefs. So that position's wide open, because you got Jamel Dean, Carlton Davis, playing those other corner positions. So they're going to pretty much be your starters there. So with this slot corner position, as they say, even though it's not technically something they list on the starting lineup, but it is a position. It should be interesting to see who comes out of that. You got Ryan Neal as well. He came over from the Seahawks. Ryan Neal's played pretty well in camp. He's been kind of a veteran presence for some of the younger guys as well. So it's a lot of good competition in the defensive backfield. And, Todd Bowles mentioned earlier, in his press conference today, saying that they need to create more turnovers. They didn't have enough of those last year. And that's true. We didn't see a lot of interceptions. We didn't see a lot of takeaways, by interception or fumble. So this year it's very critical that this team, wins the turnover battle, puts the offense in a great spot, and also really see the defense, actually control games. And that's something last year that they didn't really do much of. They didn't really control too many football games. They didn't dominate too many football games. I think the defense's best game last year was in Germany against Seattle. They came out and just from start to finish made Geno Smith uncomfortable all day. They stopped Kenneth Walker, stopped the run game, made it very difficult for Seattle to get on, to get their offense going in that game. So you want to see more of that this year and more of these games, because you think about it, the quarterbacks you're going to be playing this year, Kirk Cousins, you're opening up with him, Jalen Hurts on Monday night, Josh Allen, Thursday night football, so, and Justin Fields, that's another one in week 2. So you're opening up against some very top tier quarterbacks. Yet Derek Carr, in New Orleans, you're going to face him twice. You're going to face a rookie, Bryce Young, for Carolina. So you got a lot of quarterbacks that, they're going to be like Baker Mayfield. They're running quarterbacks. They're going to make plays off their feet. So it's very important for this defense to really step up and, cause turnovers, just stop offenses, try and get as many 3 and outs as you can. And we do have a front for, a great linebacking core that's going to do that. The question is going to be the backfield. Can they make those interceptions? There's a couple interceptions last year that Carlton Davis dropped. Jamel Dean dropped a couple of them. Those are like game-changing plays right there, that we didn't capitalize on. And so this year, I apologize for the dog barking in the background. But yeah, it's important for this defense to step up. And I'm saying this with training camp, you got a lot of rookies, and a lot of them are on defense. So we got to see what these guys can do, and hopefully they can make a difference for our defense, make it easier on our front 7. And it's where it starts, but where it finishes up is in the backfield as well. So if we can get those turnovers this year, and these guys like a Delaney or a Zion McCollum can come in for some plays, make a difference, make some tackles in the open field. This defense can really step up, and they could be a force in the league. I think on paper we definitely have a top 10 defense. Now, it's on paper, but can that translate onto the field? That's the question. And with the training camp going on right now, the competition, hey, it's up for grabs. So, and like I said, with Cansey's injury, hopefully he gets back soon. Guys like Yaya Diaby, he's having a good training camp as well. And also Servase Dennis, he's been kind of a surprise too. A lot of people thought they're kind of iffy on him, but I'm kind of high on the guy. I think he's a very talented linebacker. He's made some plays. I think he had an interception in training camp this week too. So that's good. This is good stuff. But Servase Dennis, a guy like him, probably going to do well in special teams. And that's another thing, with these guys competing for, starting jobs or competing, for backup roles, but they're mainly going to be competing for special team positions. And that's where your bread and butter's at. That's where you're going to make a statement. The special teams, very important. Look at last year, like Devin Tompkins, he won a spot on the team, but he also played well throughout the year and eventually got the starting kickoff returner job. So with these rookies coming in, that's good to know. And Tompkins can definitely, from experience tell you, hey, competition's important. Stepping up is important, because if you do well in special teams, you're going to get a lot more playing time, and you could get a starting role. Tompkins, got that for, guys like Darden got released. Forget who the other guy was, but Tompkins got the starting kick returner job, in the middle of the season and did pretty decent. That's another thing too. We need more consistency out of the kick return game and punt returns. A lot of times these days you're not going to see too many returns, for touchdowns. You're not going to see too many big returns, but it would be nice to see our kick returner, get about 10, 15 yards on a run instead of like 4 or 5, kind of stretch the field a little bit, get in the, get better, offensive, field possession. And the Bucs really didn't do that last year. And I think this year they're definitely going to, hopefully at least, they're going to improve on that. Put the offense in a good position because we already got a good offense, with Evans, Godwin, Rashad White, our tight ends with Kate Otten, rookie Payne Durham, other positions. So it's very important that the special teams game in general, all around, really helps our team out a lot. Puts the offense in a better position. Is what I should say. So, with that being said, let's get to some comments here. Here, as you know, Scott Thaler's first. Thank you, Scott. Christopher Cole, thank you for tuning in. He's on YouTube. Afternoon, everyone. And thank you, Christopher. Appreciate it. Huge Bucs fan. And Christopher Cole also says, Joe Burrow had the same thing, but his was severe. Yeah, Joe Burrow, that's even more important because that's even a bigger injury. Not saying that, Kancey's not as important as Burrow, but Burrow's your franchise quarterback. He's your team right there. You lose Joe Burrow for any amount of time, Bengals are in trouble. It's going to really affect their chances to, compete for a Super Bowl. So with Kancey, yeah, you don't want to lose him either. He's important, but it's just that, the comparisons, and I know you're not trying to make comparisons, Christopher Cole, but, Burrow, quarterback, Kancey, defensive end, rookie defensive end, he's just getting his career started, but with Burrow, he's already, established in the league. So I think it's vital that Cincinnati gets Joe Burrow back. Very vital. Now, again, Kancey's important. He's our first round pick, having a great training camp. You just don't want to, lose him as well. But yeah, they're both severe. I was hoping it was a cramp, because of the heat. But when I heard the Pewter Report, by the way, they do a great job, Pewter Report. If you want your Bucs news, go to that website. I think they have the best coverage. Scott Reynolds, J.C. Allen, they do a great job covering the team. So, but they came out with this report with the calf strain. So it's like, okay, don't panic because, again, strains are, depends on the severity. Kancey could come back in a week or two, or he could be out for a few weeks. We just don't know yet, but hopefully the MRI results will be a positive one and not a bad one. So, yeah. We got Facebook user. Let me see who that is. This is Corey Brown. Corey, thanks for tuning in, man. Let's see. What does he say here? Bucs defense loaded. They have a chance to win the NFC South. Bucs don't need much offense to win games. Yeah, their defense is. We are loaded with veterans and some rookies, but the offense really needs to play well. We still need to score points. We can't just rely on our defense to, we're not going to pitch shutouts, but we definitely need to really keep this, keep teams under 20 points because this offense can at least score 20 or more points. But yeah, we need our offense big time. Last year we were 8-9 and our defense wasn't bad. We kept teams pretty much under 24 points a game, but we didn't score over 30 points too many times. And this offense is definitely capable with the talent, with the talent we have, we can score at least 30 points a game. We have a chance to anyway. So yeah, I think our offense does need to score some points. Corey, with all due respect, I think, especially when you got the weapons that Baker Mayfield or Kyle Trask, whoever that may be. I'm still saying it's Mayfield, but let's just go with Mayfield. You got him. You got, look at the weapons: Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Russell Gage, Rashad White, um, Chase Edmonds, you got uh, Kate Otten, uh, you got maybe Sean Tucker, who's having a good camp as well. Speaking of training camp, he's playing. He's done pretty good so far. He was undrafted, obviously, because he had the heart condition, but he's been cleared, which is great. That's great news. So he can play. He's been impressive in training camp. So we got the offensive weapons. I don't see any reason why we cannot score at least 24 to 32 points a game. I don't see any reason why we can't do that. Again, we don't have Tom Brady anymore, but we do still have a good core of offensive players that can, help the quarterback. And also, they have to stay healthy, especially the offensive line, and everybody does. Everybody has to stay healthy. If everybody can stay as healthy as possible offensively, this team can score points. So, Corey, we do need our offense to score. We do. Yeah, it would be great, if we didn't have to rely so much on our offense. But again, look at defenses from 20 years ago to now. The rule changes, so they're going to favor the offense a little more. But yeah, I would love for our defense to be like it was in the late 90s, early 2000s, where we would just shut out people and they wouldn't even get a touchdown on us. But the reality is, that's most likely not going to happen. But with that being said, we still need our offense to step up and score 24 to 30 points. So yeah. Corey Brown, Baker Mayfield drafted by wrong team and played for 3 trash teams, no talent. Again, Corey, I've made my feelings known about Baker Mayfield. I'm not the biggest fan of his, but I'm not going to call him trash because he has played at a high level. He's won a playoff game. With the Cleveland Browns, he had some good weapons on his team. Landry, Odell, Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb. He had a good offensive line. Good tight ends on the team. If he has good weapons around him, and Baker doesn't have to do too much or try to make those heroic plays, he can manage this team really well. So that's what I'm hoping for with Baker Mayfield, assuming that he's going to be the quarterback for the Bucs come week 1, which I assume he will be. I've gone over that again, the quarterback competition. They can call it that, but to me, this is Baker Mayfield's job to lose. So I'm not gonna. Unfortunately, I know Kyle Trask. I'm hearing some good things out of him. In training camp, he had a press conference this week where he's trying to play taller. He's saying the right things, but again, I just don't. Baker Mayfield's going to start for us. I'm just being honest. If Kyle Trask does great and Baker wets the bed, then okay, then maybe Kyle Trask will play. But right now it's Baker Mayfield. So let's see. Scott Thaler says Rams are not trash. We will have a better record than the Bucs. I don't know about that. We'll see how Matt Stafford does. See if Cam Akers can stay healthy. We'll see if Cooper Kupp can stay healthy. I worry about your offensive line, if we're being honest, Scott. I mean, they need to step up and protect Matt Stafford. Otherwise, this could be a 4 or 5 win team. I think they might do better this year, but I don't think you're beating the 49ers or the Seahawks. So, yeah. Facebook user, let me see. That's Corey. Bucks make playoffs. Rams did not last season. Yeah. But, hey, the Bucks are 8-9. We're in a bad division, and we barely won the division. We won it in week 15 or 16. week 16 or so. We had to beat Carolina to secure the division. So I'm not saying the Bucks were much better, but I think this year it's going to be interesting again. Whole new regime, new offensive coordinator, new quarterback. But we do have the core of our defense back. So, I'm assuming this defense is going to do some damage this year. Carlton Davis said, you're going to be, going to talk bad about us. We're going to show the world. So, yeah, I'm excited. Johnny Dean in the house. Yeah, I do see him in there, Scott. And Johnny Dean says, I'm sorry I'm late. What's going on with Cansey? Well, earlier on, Johnny, we were talking about Cansey. He had a training camp this morning. He was down on the ground. He got back up, holding his right calf. Then he went on the cart. At first, I assumed it was just cramps because a lot of players do get cramps. The Florida heat and humidity, that's going to cause some cramps. But then I read on Pewter Report a little while ago before I got on here that Scott Reynolds reported that Kalijah Cansey did have a right calf strain. So there'll be an MRI done this week. Then they'll know the severity of it. So hopefully, again, it's not too long. Hope it's not too severe. But again, these injuries can be a little tricky. They're like hamstrings. But until we know what the MRI says, we just gotta, wait and see. That's all we can do. Because, like I said, Cansey was having a very good training camp, and I know Johnny Dean, you had mentioned that he had developed a couple new moves in training camp. At his position. Todd Bowles was, talking very highly of him, saying that he's picked up the playbook. He's picked up things, that most rookies don't do. So, yeah, it does hurt a little, but again, hopefully it's not too long. We'll see what happens. Just got to wait on the MRI. Scott Taylor, Rams 11-6. Yeah, we'll see about that. Johnny Dean says, never assume anything. Yeah, like I said, you don't want to assume. You just, like I said, I thought it was just cramps. But Christopher Cole mentioned earlier that it was similar to Joe Burrow's injury. But Joe Burrow, though, he's your franchise quarterback. That's a lot more important. Again, I'm not saying Cansey's not important. He is, but it's just compared to Joe Burrow. Yeah, Bengals, their Super Bowl chances could take a hit if that injury lingers. They said he could be out 4 to 6 weeks, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. Bucks have a better chance to make the playoffs than the Rams. I actually agree with that, Corey. And I'll tell you why. Because our division's not great. And with the Rams in their division, the NFC West, you got the Niners, you got the Seahawks, both made the playoffs last year. Now, Arizona, not going to be very good. Kyler Murray's still out. We don't even know if he'll play this year. Maybe not. We don't know. But Rams got they're in a tough division. They got a tall task. So I do think the Bucks can make the playoffs, have a better chance at it because of the division they're in. I don't know. I don't see a real threat in our division. Maybe the Falcons, just because they got better defensively. They got some key pieces in free agency. He drafted a rookie in Bijan Robinson, a very good, highly touted running back. So, the Saints, I mentioned last week, they got Derek Carr, but, they got Chris Olave, but, the defense isn't as good. Their offensive line, I was going to say real quick, one of their offensive linemen got hurt for the Saints in training camp. So, and he's one of their best linemen. So that's a big loss right there. I don't know the severity of the injury, but already the Saints have a decent line at best, but when you get an injury to one of your best linemen, it's gonna, hurt them even more. So, and as you know, for Carolina, they're gonna. It was announced this week. Frank Reich, head coach of Carolina, new head coach, said that Bryce Young will be the starting quarterback. So, I mean, he's the number one overall pick. So, I think we all knew that was coming. It's just a matter of when. A little surprised they announced it that soon, but okay, So our division, I don't really see a threat. Like I said, maybe Atlanta, but the Saints, I don't know. Even though they've always played us tough, they have. I don't see them as a big threat. And neither do the Panthers. Panthers maybe, but again, rookie quarterback. Their defense is solid, but I don't know. It's going to take time. So, but as far as winning our division, having a better chance to make the playoffs than the Rams, I do think the BUCs do. The Rams, not so much, but we'll see what happens. Johnny Deans, so likely 4 to 6 weeks out then. Okay. Yeah, probably most likely, but again, I'm just waiting on the MRI. Hopefully it's nothing severe and he could be back in a few weeks. But I would say most likely he's probably not going to play the first preseason game against the Steelers on August 11th. That's Friday, I believe. So, but then we play the Jets in week 2 of preseason, which would be August 19th. And speaking of that, the Jets, the BUCs will have, they'll go up to New York and play some scrimmages. So that'll be good. That'll be fun to see. And we'll be on Hard Knocks, actually. We'll probably be on Hard Knocks because the Jets are this year's team on Hard Knocks. So you'll probably see the BUCs a little bit on Hard Knocks. So that would be kind of cool since they're going to scrimmage with each other. So that'll be fun. I know some people don't like their teams to be on Hard Knocks, but again, we're playing the Jets week 2 of preseason. So we're going to be scrimmaging with them. So we're probably going to see him on there. So I'm excited. I don't care what anybody says. I'm excited. Let's see. Carolina. The Panthers will not win short quarterback 5'10" Bryce Young. Yeah, he is not the tallest, but again, Drew Brees was 5'10" as well. Was a great quarterback. So I don't know. We'll see. We will see. Johnny Dean, the Colts. Jonathan Taylor is wanting to be traded away from the Colts. Yeah, he made that announcement. Made that post yesterday. He said he did not. Well, he said he's requesting a trade. So, I mean, it's interesting. He's seeing that the running backs aren't getting paid, and as we know, Saquon Barkley ended up re-signing 1-year deal. Or not re-signing. He's going to play on the tag. He's going to get incentives, but Josh Jacobs, the Raiders, he's holding out still. That's a big deal out here in Vegas where I live. He's not with the team. He's left town, so I haven't heard anything on Jacobs. We probably won't know anytime soon, but Jonathan Taylor's looking at this saying, man, I want out of here. Trade me to a team that, maybe wants to compete for a championship or be a playoff team. It is kind of weird timing, but he's only in his 3rd year now. Jonathan Taylor did miss some games last year. I think he missed 7 games. So it's going to be an interesting trade market. He's very talented, but are teams willing to give up a lot to get him? That's the question. And I don't know. I think he'll end up staying there. Colts owner Jim Irsay said that he's not going to trade him, but I don't know. We'll see. But you also don't want an unhappy player in training camp either to cause some, distractions, especially when you got a rookie quarterback with you know, that you drafted high, you traded up to get, with Anthony Richardson. From what I understand, he's picking it up pretty well in Colts training camp so far. So we'll see. But I'm just saying, kind of don't want that distraction. And also, I've been hearing with the Bucks too that why they should do it and why they shouldn't do it. I don't. The Bucks aren't going to do it. They're not going to trade for him. They're not going to give up a lot of draft capital. And we're going with Shad White. We're seeing what he can do. We got a undrafted rookie in Sean Tucker, who's played well in training camp so far. So you also got Chase Edmonds. You also got Keyshawn Vaughn. So right now the Bucks aren't going to trade for him. So I would just not even worry about that. Don't go out there and say, "Oh yeah, we should trade for him." It's Bucks fans. It's not going to happen. They're not going to trade for him. So just giving you a heads up right now. Don't want to disappoint you. Facebook user, who is this? Corey. Derek Carr, who posted to throw the ball to Saints, still messy. Yeah, Derek Carr's been up and down in his career with the Raiders, but he has some talent. Question is though, you're not going to have Kamara for a while, Alvin Kamara. You do got Olave, but again, like I said earlier, the offensive line is going to be a question. Can they protect Derek Carr enough to give him time to make plays? I don't know. Corey says Bucks 8-9 because missing Ryan Jensen and D. Smith holding penalty and offensive line was banged up. Yeah, that was definitely part of it. You can also say we probably had one of the worst unimaginative offensive coordinators in history in Byron Leftwich. We can also say that Tom Brady did not play well, did not play his best last year either, and was a good reason, why we didn't do so well. I don't think his heart was in it. And so there's a lot of blame to go around. It's not just Jensen and Donovan Smith, which was, Ali Marpet retired, so that really hurt as well. So, but a lot of blame to go around. Johnny Dean says the thing is the owners are working together to drive down the value of running backs. This may show exactly how far they go in doing so now. Could be. Could very well be. And that's really unfortunate because the running back position still holds a lot of value and they should definitely be getting paid more than they are right now. But again, this is a passing league. The tight ends have been more important in offenses lately, and they've moved up in the pay scale as far as finance and stuff. But no, the running backs still are very valuable. I mean, Derrick Henry, I know he may be more exception than the rule, but that Titans offense they're not shit without Derrick Henry. Sorry, they're just not. Look at Seattle last year. Kenneth Walker and DJ Dallas. They helped that Seattle offense tremendously. Josh Jacobs with the Raiders. The Raiders were able to score like 20, 30 points a game. But their defense gave up over 30 points a game. But I'm just saying, those running backs are a key position still. Helps offenses out. Saquon Barkley. Like, Daniel Jones had a good year. A lot of it was because of Saquon. He took a lot of pressure off Daniel Jones. And Saquon, if he can stay healthy, proved that, he can be one of the best in the league and help any offense, so they still hold a very valuable, they're very valuable still. And they should get paid more in my opinion. Corey says Jonathan Taylor trade Broncos makes sense. And I mean, that would be an interesting trade. That would be, Sean Payton, he had Kamara, Mark Ingram for years. So, down in New Orleans. So if he had a guy like Jonathan Taylor, that would help Russell Wilson in that offense. But I don't know. I don't think the Colts are going to trade him right now. Scott Taylor said Colts traded number 28 in 1999, so maybe they trade for another number 28 and win another Super Bowl. I think you're referring to Marshall Faulk there. I don't know, maybe, but who knows? Anything can happen in the NFL, In the NFL, NFL, not for long, so who knows? Johnny Dean says Bucks lost 3 linemen and Brady wasn't involved much as working with the replacements. That's exactly right. Brady last year in training camp, he took 10 days off to go on a retreat to try to, help his marriage and his family. And I don't want to discuss that kind of stuff, but yeah, and like I said, he just didn't have. He wasn't the Tom Brady of the past. He still played pretty good, but that just shows you how great he is. But at the same time, it didn't really help the Bucks. Let's remember, me and Johnny talked about this, on and off the air. Tom Brady, he retired last year, and then he came back. He unretired. So already you throw a wrench into the plans, the Bucks. The Bucks were actually ready to move on. Said, okay, we got Kyle Trask, we drafted him. Let's see what he can do. Well, 45 days later, you know what? I'll come back. I'll come back and let's go at it again. Let's do it again. And then Bruce Arians retired. Although personally, I think, Johnny, you'd agree with me that Brady, I think, forced Arians up to the front office. So, I know me and you will probably get heat for that comment, but I still believe it. There was always tension with Brady and Arians. We're not going to dig into that too much, but there's a lot of truth to it. In my opinion, I think there's a lot of truth to that. So, yeah. But it's a good comment, Johnny. You're exactly right. Brady was not involved with the replacements. And he should be, especially when you're any quarterback that has a makeshift offensive line needs to be there. You need to develop that chemistry. And it just doesn't take 1 or 2 weeks. It takes months, reps to get that going. And, losing Ryan Jensen too was just such a blow. Not just for the center position, but he brought that attitude to the team. And we didn't have that last year. We're missing that attitude. And it's great. Ryan Jensen saw in his press conference this week. This great guy. Love to hear him talk. He was talking about how mentally this was tough on him. He had days where he was in tears because how he couldn't be out there. He couldn't play. He couldn't help that team and his offensive line, do better. And, that's tough, man, and Jensen didn't have surgery. He just let that injury heal. He says he feels great. He's back. He's feeling good. Just getting back into the swing of things. It's going to take time, but, Jensen, from what I'm hearing so far, from what I'm seeing, has a good rapport with Baker Mayfield and Kyle Trask. So, yeah, it's hopefully this year we stay injury free. Corey says Jets Super Bowl contender. Well, when you traded for Aaron Rodgers, you better be. That's all you want, is to be a contender for the Super Bowl. Like I said, and we're going to see this year. They better step up. Johnny Dean says Derrick Henry isn't making much money. Yeah, that's true. But again, like I said, he is that offense for Tennessee. You lose him, they suck. Just saying. Go Rams, Scott. All right, go Rams. Derrick Henry's making $10.5 million. That's ridiculous. Yeah, it is. For him, yeah, I agree. He needs to be making a lot more, but most of that money is going to Ryan Tannehill, who is mediocre at best and is toward the end of his career. So, that's another thing. You know, real quick, not this is a Buck show, but with the Titans, they need to move on from Tannehill. He just does. They just do. You drafted Will Levis, so, and from what I understand, he's doing pretty decent there. So far in training camp. So we'll see what happens. Johnny, don't forget how injury ridden the Bucks were last year. Absolutely, injuries killed us. They killed us. Jensen was out whole year. Donovan Smith even was out for a couple games. He was one of the most durable offensive linemen we had. Carlton Davis missed some time. Jamel Dean missed some time. Winfield missed some time. That's tough. Mike Evans missed a game. He got suspended, but still, he missed a game against the Packers. That was huge. We could have had him in that game. Godwin wasn't 100% yet from his injury, the year before. So the injuries were just brutal, man. Brutal. And like I said, you hate hearing Kancey get hurt, but hopefully it's nothing serious, and hopefully we just stay healthy through training camp, get to the regular season, and then just go from there. That's all I care about. Just stay healthy. That's the key. Corey says Saints own Bucks regular season, but Bucks own Saints playoff win. That's true. But last year, we beat them twice. We beat them both in the regular season. So they don't really own us anymore in the regular season. We beat them twice last year. Won the season series. We do play the Saints week 4, I believe, right before the bye week in New Orleans. So hopefully that's another win for the Bucks. Let's see here. Corey says, me and Johnny Dean, same mindset about Bucks. Okay. Yeah, got that mindset too. And Johnny Dean says, Lenny wanted $13 million. That's right. He did. And, the Bucks, they weren't going to pay that. I really couldn't anyway, because financially they were in trouble. Obviously, because Brady retired earlier. He didn't retire before June 1st. If he'd have retired after June 1st, Bucks would only be on the hook for half of that $35 million. But instead, they are on the hook for the $35 million now. And so it did kind of prevent us from re-signing Fournette. But at the same time, we re-signed Levante, Jamel Dean. So, and we had to get a quarterback, even though we only paid Baker $4 million, but excuse me, they wanted an experienced guy, and so we had to save some money for the rookies as well, So yeah, it was tough financially, but I knew, Lenny wasn't going to get $13 million, and Lenny was very important to us. Don't get me wrong. He was a very key part of our offense, but at the same time, you noticed last year too, he came in the camp pretty heavy and, wasn't as motivated. I thought, maybe the Bucks were looking at that too, as like, we kind of want to turn the page, get people who are motivated to play for this team. So I don't know. That's how I look at it. But yeah, nonetheless, Lenny's still looking for a job. I believe he's worked out with the Patriots and another team as well. So, Lenny Fournette, Dalvin Cook, they're still out there. They're still out there. So, and according to reports, we're hearing that many are saying that Dalvin Cook could end up signing with the Jets. So, I don't know. We'll see. I thought Lenny Fournette was going back to the Jaguars. No, I didn't really hear anything on that. I don't think the Jags would re-sign him, especially the way that ended. They ended up releasing him, and he came to the Bucks in 2020. So, but I don't see the Jaguars re-signing him. Scott says, I want 13 million too. I'll give you my address to send it to me. Okay, well, if somebody has 13 million, get Scott's address if they want to give him 13 million. Christopher Cole, hey, Johnny Dean, the Steelers signed Quan Alexander. Oh, yeah, I saw that earlier too. Quan, he's a journeyman now. We'll see if he even makes the team. At this point, he's just a utility player at best. Quan was okay, but just missed too many tackles. Just wasn't the guy that I think we were hoping he could be. He had his moments, but just was inconsistent. Also was injury prone. So that's why the Bucs let him go. They didn't want to re-sign him. So Johnny Dean says, my point about Lenny wanting 13 minutes, how can he sit there and ask for more than Henry is making? Guess he knows now, huh? Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, he should have known better, and I understand where some of these guys are coming from, like Saquon and Josh Jacobs. But like you said, Johnny, they should know the running back marketplace and financially, and obviously that's why they're still Lenny and Dalvin Cook are still sitting there. So just waiting, see if a team will resign him or sign him. So Facebook use Lenny Fournette, 2 championships, Bucs and Jaguars. No. He only won 1 Super Bowl. That was with the Bucs. And Johnny Dean says there was a post earlier this offseason that had Lenny signing with Denver. What happened to that? What happened? That's just rumors. Rumors and innuendo. They like to stir it up. Before training camp, you just had not a whole lot of news. So people like to, I guess, stir the pot. And yeah, so, oh man, this was first week of training camp with the Bucs. So, yeah, this was a very good training camp so far. Obviously, except for the Kancey injury. But again, let's just hope for the best. Yeah, so that's pretty much about it for this episode that we covered so far in training camp. We've heard good stuff from, some key players, some good stuff from some rookies. Like I mentioned earlier, that we have 27 rookies in our training camp, 19 of them undrafted. There's a competition at the slot corner position that's vacant because of Sean Murphy-Bunting leaving, Mike Edwards leaving. Guys like D. Delaney, rookie Josh Haynes, Zion McCollum, a couple other rookies competing for that spot, especially with Jamel Dean and Carlton Davis locking down those starting corners positions, and Antoine Winfield with the safety position. Ryan Neal's having a good training camp, the free agent from Seattle. So a lot of competition there. Again, it's just the first week. We talked about the quarterback, competition, or competition as they like to call it. But yeah, so this was very interesting first week, good first week, except for the Kancey injury. But other than that, so far so good. Again, the Bucs play their first preseason game August 11th in Tampa against the Steelers, another team that's looking to bounce back this year. Kenny Pickett, quarterback for them. Najee Harris. We don't know if those guys will play or not, but should be interesting what they do. Tomorrow, though, in training camp, I believe tomorrow's the first day for pads. So the Bucs will be in pads, hitting them up. So it should be an interesting day in training camp for the Bucs when the pads are on. So let's get to a couple more comments here. Let's see, Johnny Dean. Hold on a sec. Good thing for us about the market is now we can probably pick up a top-notch running back for $9 million. Yeah, I don't know if we're going to pick up a running back, Johnny Dean. Not this year, anyway. I think unless the Bucks see something where they're not overly impressed with Rashad White or any of the other guys like Chase Edmonds, who they signed in the offseason, Keyshawn Vaughn, um, Sean Tucker, who's, from what I've heard, has had a good training camp. If they feel like, unless they feel like they need to get somebody to help out, you know, Rashad White, then I think they're going to just stick with those guys. So, yeah, I don't know if we're going to be out to get a running back. Scott Thaler, Sony Michel retired, screwing up the Rams roster. Yeah, only 5 years. He only played for 5 years and he retired. He did win a Super Bowl though with the Patriots, who beat the Rams, by the way. So that's right. Patriots did beat the Rams in the Super Bowl. So, Johnny Dean, with world-breaking temps this year, should the league find a better way to train? Well, yeah, they should. I mean, it's all about safety. If the NFL's so much about safety and precautions, they should. Luckily for the Bucks, a couple years ago, we built that indoor stadium, that indoor practice facility, not stadium, I should say. They should be playing in there more, but I get it. They want to got to get used to that heat in September and October in Tampa. So, but yeah, I think they should find better ways to do that, especially when you preach, the NFL preaches, safety protocols. So yeah, I agree. And Facebook user Lenny Fournette, that's Corey again. Lenny Fournette, AFC Championship, Jaguars NFC Championship, Bucks and win one Super Bowl. Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, if you're talking about Super Bowls, he just won one with the Bucks. But yeah, he's been to two conference championship games, one with the Jaguars and one with the Bucks. So, and Johnny Dean says the Bucks' new stadium has to be covered. I would think so if they're trying to build a new stadium. I haven't heard much on it, or I haven't really heard anything on it. I don't know if they're building a new stadium or not. I know their lease to Raymond James is up in 2028, I believe. They signed a 30-year deal back in '98 when it opened. So, yeah, it would be nice if the Bucks get a new stadium. I don't see why they can't. It's a great city. The Bucks are Tampa. I know the Lightning have, represented Tampa very well. They've won a couple Stanley Cups. But yeah, I think it is kind of time for the Bucks to get a new stadium, especially with these new stadiums popping up. Minnesota got a new stadium a few years ago. Rams and Chargers share SoFi Stadium, Allegiant Stadium for the Raiders in Vegas. So yeah, I don't see why they can't get a new stadium. Wait, Johnny Dean did say that Bucks bought land to build a stadium on it. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Good stuff. So maybe they will. Not in a state that has good weather. Tampa is not St. Louis. That's true. Yeah. Higher humidity in Florida because you're next to the ocean, the Gulf of Mexico. So, Christopher Cole again, thank you. Says that Sean Tucker will be running back number 2. Well, that'd be something, man. And again, we've heard great things from Sean Tucker. So yeah, maybe he will be. And he's got some talent. I can't wait to see him in a preseason game. That's where we're going to see these guys, step up and show their stuff. That's what it's all about. And no, I'm excited for Tucker. I'm excited for Rashad White. Excited for all these rookies. This is the first year and listen, I've been excited about the other years. When we had Brady, that championship run. But this is a year I'm excited about just because of the uncertainty. Sometimes uncertainty can be good. could surprise you a little bit. So we'll see. This is going to be fun. St. Louis Chargers. Yeah, I don't know. By the way, they did sign Justin Herbert, extended him a new 5-year contract, $265 million. So it's good that the Spanos finally weren't being cheap. Tampa Bay Rays new stadium. Okay. Scott Thaler, Tampa is lightning capital of the country. The heat on the field in summer hits 135 degrees. Stop it with good weather. There are storms daily rolling off the Gulf. Yeah, that's true. That is true. And Christopher Cole says, I'm assuming he's talking about Tucker. He'll be the finisher. Yeah, that'd be great, man. That would be great. I'd love to see that 1-2 combination. And that's what we need. We need a good running back combo. I think that would be really good for our team, especially with Dave Canales, the new Bucs offensive coordinator. He had that in Seattle with Kenneth Walker, DJ Dallas, a good running back core, that combo running back. So, yeah, that would be nice. And Johnny Dean says, now the Spanos need to get a coach. Yeah, I agree with that. If Brandon Staley doesn't step up this year, if they don't win a playoff game this year, and let's say they make it again and don't win a playoff game, yeah, I think you got to get him out of there, get a coach that can take not only Justin Herbert, but that whole team to the next level, especially in the AFC West, where defending Super Bowl champion Chiefs. And Denver's getting better. They got Sean Payton. I wish they would have got rid of Staley last year, this offseason, so they could have gotten Sean Payton. He lives in LA. He lived in the LA area. Could have hired him. Him and Justin Herbert would have been a great coach quarterback combo. That could have been your next Breeze, right? Sean Payton had Breeze. He could have had Herbert, but they decided, we'll give Staley one more chance. So I don't know. We'll see how it works out. Put the star players in AC space, suits to practice. Okay, Scott. Okay, that's enough out of you. So with that being said, I'm on for over an hour now. So I am going to take off. But man, this has been another good episode of Let's Buck with Ben. I want to thank everybody out there who commented on the show today. Thank you very much for your support. Appreciate that. And as always, please like and share there. You can see my social media handles right there on Twitter, which is actually now X. I guess Mr. Elon Musk is doing some things, changing some things around there. So, but Twitter or X, find me there at BennyBoy702. That's my Twitter handle. And every show you see me on, my YouTube channel is Ben Cornett 9015. And on Facebook, if you're watching in the Ben Zone Facebook group, that's where I'm at as well. And if you're not in the Ben Zone Facebook group, I will share my shows on my page. So, yes, definitely. So please like, subscribe, and share. And just want to say thank you very much for tuning in today. And we will be back next time for another episode of Let's Buck with Ben. Everybody, have a good week, and we will see you next time.